Okay, great. I'm going to start out with my banner just as a tribute to Rev Wayne. Happiest Appearance Day. My friend artist calls it Appearance Day rather than a happy birthday. So happy Appearance Day to you, my brother, Rev Wayne.
Thank you.
And hi, everybody. This is Audsie. I'm going to be reading, as Lynn just mentioned, from A Course in Mysticism and Miracles by Dr. John Moondy. And I'm on page 58, which is chapter 6. And I'm just going to start where we left off. Mysticism is a journey, but it is not like just taking a train to a given destination. Mystical awareness comes slowly into flower. The flower possesses its beauty while still in the seed, but it must be drawn out. The mystical dimension comes as we let go or surrender to a mind that seems much greater than our own, even though we already know something of it. The mystical comes as we forgive, let go, and surrender the ego self to something much bigger than our little self. As the Course explains it, forgiveness is acquired. It is not inherent in the mind, which cannot sin. As sin is an idea you taught yourself, forgiveness must be learned by you as well, but from a teacher other than yourself, who represents the other self in you. Through him, you learn how to forgive the self you think you made and let it disappear. Thus, you return your mind as one to him who is yourself and who can never sin. And that's workbook lesson 121, verse 6, paragraph 6, I think. Yeah. So yeah, this is beautiful. It just kind of piggybacks from Rev Wayne's program that we just had, because it's not something that we can do as this ego self that thinks it's a separate self. It's the higher power, that higher source, that higher vibration, the peaceful part of you, not the fight or flight, not the fear. It's uh, it's getting in touch with that teacher, like as Jesus was. What would Jesus do? As light is key to the growth of a flower, the knowledge that comes with the disrobing of the ego is key for the mystical journey. Belief in the body and separation made the ability to perceive physicality possible. In other words, we must perceive something, an object, with something, physical senses, and the brain gives what we perceive meaning. Accordingly, perception involves an exchange or translation. Pure knowing, however, needs no exchange between the perceiver, what is perceived, and its meaning. According to Ramana Maharshi, form is always limitation. Pure being is unhampered by form. As we relinquish the ego world, as we begin to be progressively free of our illusions, we find truth. When the world of ego has been completely removed, then comes the realization of self. When the mind, which is the cause of all cognition and all actions, becomes puissant, the ego world disappears. I think that means content or quiet. Or pure being just is without a separate object of perception. And we're finding this out in science too, right? Where we're being told by science that you need an observer to see the subject. Otherwise, nothing's there. So I love how science and spirituality are bridging that gap now, in my opinion. Pure knowing comes, like atonement, when we willingly let go of the misperception that seemingly changed us into a body and an ego, a place we mistakenly perceived as home. And the atonement is forgiveness. And forgiveness is not forgiving like the world says we forgive, like we forgive somebody for what they did. We actually forgive them for what they didn't do. We realize that there was nothing done. There was no sin. To sin just means to miss the mark, just missing the mark of something. It's not this evil thing it's been portrayed to be, that we're sinners doomed to this hell of existence. I mean, some of the stories told me that in my religious studies, my classes, and I just couldn't get on board with that. It didn't make sense to me that was what God was about, and I knew that God wasn't even a person because people are so flawed that there's no way that perfection and love could be a person. That's my feeling. So, yeah, so then we're going to go into a quote here from the text, chapter 4. Joy in sharing. God, who encompasses all beings, created beings who have everything individually, but who want to share it to increase their joy. Nothing real can be increased except by sharing. That is why God created you. Divine abstraction takes joy in sharing. And I think here sometimes that's where I get a little bit confused about that's why God created me. Because I think, well, God created me, but not in this world, not in the sense of this world, but just in the creation of God. I am a part of that. I am being my mind, not this body form Audrey. That's what I think. I interpret that. As mystics, we are involved in an inner process of realization, an inner stirring or awakening. The deeper we dig, the greater our sense of kismet, an awareness of an inner fate that guides our lives. While the journey to God is inevitable for everyone, it slowly becomes clear to us that we are indeed on a journey and are headed home. As seekers, we proceed and regress, proceed and regress. Just on over and over. I know for me, yeah, as a seeker, seeking something because I just couldn't find whatever that was within me. There was something inherently wrong with me, I believe. And there was something that I needed to get outside of me, outside of myself to feel better. I didn't understand that it was really just all of my own creation. And I read many books. I just kept acknowledging when bad behavior came up. I just was like, who is this? I didn't even understand who the person was, this angry person, because there seemed to be other people. Like there seemed to be another voice or other voices, and it was so reassuring that, look, I'm not crazy. Well, I am crazy, but everybody's crazy in that sense. Something is gained when we move forward. Something is gained when we retreat. Whether we are aware of the spiritual process or not, it is still there. Yeah, truth is truth, no matter if nobody believes it. If nobody believes in truth, truth is still true. You know, a lie is still a lie and false. even if everybody believes it. If everybody in the world believes the world is flat, that doesn't make it flat. The fact is the world is round, and 1 + 1 is 2. And we can't go and say 1 + 1 is 3, and the world is square. So whether we're aware of anything greater than ourselves or not, it's still truth. It's still there. And I love that I could say to my husband, he's very much science and would probably be not believing in a God, a spiritual sense. But he said to me the other day, yeah, after just living the life he's lived, he just can't deny that there's something else happening here. And that was a beautiful sharing that I got to hear from him, because he's somebody that I talk to about all of this, and we have conversations, and it's just a beautiful flowing of our truth realization. So it's just a beautiful the Course in Miracles is something that I value in my life, because I'm able to bounce ideas with others that are of the same beliefs, and reading this text and guidance from Jesus that Helen and Bill did for us. 7 years they took writing this book and editing it, and I think it's just a fabulous tool for me to use while being in this world. So the more we become aware of the journey of realization, the more we make a living connection with it, the richer our lives become. And I can attest for sure. I mean, and things just all fall into place seemingly too. The less aware we are of an inner life, the more our lives seem to lack meaning. If we walk through life mindlessly, we have a sense that we're missing out on something important. In Maya's house, the constantly changing world of time and space, there are many illusions. Thus, the journey is one of separating out the false from the true. The task is to discover why we came here and what our destiny must be. Life becomes meaningful as we give in to the urge toward creative self-realization and expression. And that's beautiful for me to remember, like the meaningfulness of life, because I just didn't feel there was much point of it. Even reading the Course and doing the Course, it came, this melancholy kind of came over me. Just sort of the realization of, wow, it really doesn't mean anything. I've given it all the meaning. I've given like these things all the meaning. And I really got it. I got it because I know I got it because I've been cleaning things out and being able to just let go of things that I used to have to collect, books or jewelry or different things I've been just putting on Poshmark. And I'm like, well, if this is sitting here collecting dust, this thing, maybe somebody else could have joy in their life with it. So like I've been giving away things, I just don't feel as attached to them, which I love that, because that attachment is what binds me to the world. So it's the loosening. I loosen the loosening of the meaning is happening. I'm not doing anything. I'm just continuing to read and do the lessons, remember in my mind, and there's progress. There's no denying it for me. And then funnily enough, the next section is called the Pilgrim's Progress. After the parables of Jesus, John Bunyan's The Pilgrim's Progress is perhaps the most famous Christian allegory. As required reading in Protestant schools in the 18th and 19th centuries, it was second in sales only to the Bible until the beginning of the 20th century. Well, I've never heard of this book, The Pilgrim's Progress, so there you go. That goes to show how much I know about literature, with it being the second in sales only to the Bible. The Pilgrim's Progress is the story of a hero named Christian who goes off in search of the celestial city, heaven. He carries many burdens on his back and must go through a series of trials, including the Slough of Despond, the Valley of Humiliation, and the Valley of the Shadow of Death. As he goes through these various experiences, he sheds his burden and finally arrives at the celestial city completely naked, unburdened. We bring nothing with us into heaven. Christian's journey is mirrored in almost all mythological traditions. From ancient to modern times, we find stories of heroes and heroines who go in search of a greater destiny. The hero leaves home, ventures into a strange land, encounters difficulties, and falls prey to a variety of forces and illusions. The good news is that the journey is not taken alone. You will not take this journey alone, the Course assures us. I will lead you to your true Father, who hath need of you, as I have. Will you not answer the call of love with joy? That's from text, chapter 11. The hero thus departs on the journey with a guide who provides tools to help with the tasks that will be met along the way. You know, this is so cool, even with my birds, when I first got my birds. And, you know, I did a little bit of research, but then I started to realize, you know, it's just like with anything else. You've got the left wing and the right wing, no pun intended for the bird here, but you've got people who say this is what you should do, no seeds, only seeds, vegetables every day, in moderation, clip the wings, don't clip the wings. You've got it just becomes a separation of people who are enjoying this bird life. You know, it just becomes a judgment in these groups. And I just had to kind of just step away from it all. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna figure this out on my own with Holy Spirit, or with my higher power, with Source, with the flow. And that's what I've done. I mean, I have 3 birds now, and they're all different and in their personalities and whatnot. And they lead the way. I mean, there's one of them that I can just kind of touch him now, but it's been like, gosh, a year and a half, and he still won't step up or anything. But then there's the other one who's like the cuddly one, and it's just amazing that I could just surrender it all. And the progress even in that, and how I set up their cages or move things around or do things, clip things, toys, whatever. I listen to the birds. Where should I put this? I let them show me. Whatever, I just be in the flow. I don't make up the story in my mind. So, yeah, my birds have taught me so much. So the hero thus departs on the journey with a guide who provides tools to help with the tasks that will be met along the way, just like my birds. When we accept the call to journey, we can count on help. The life of Jesus is full of protective guides, angels, and wise men who appear at his birth, for instance. In myth, a caring figure often appears. An old man or woman, a medicine man, a hermit, a shepherd, an escort, a shaman, a smithy, a ferryman, or pilot, or other similar figures. I would say like birds. Moses speaks directly to God. Cinderella has her fairy godmother. King Arthur has Merlin. Luke Skywalker has Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda. Castaneda encounters Don Juan. Dorothy has the Good Witch. These guides are often encountered when the hero is alone, off in the desert, on a mountaintop, or sitting alone in a room. Jesus tells his disciples that he must leave them, for if he does not, the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, cannot come to them. Obi-Wan Kenobi becomes more powerful after he leaves his body. In today's world, these guides may be an older friend, an uncle, a grandparent, a therapist or coach, a teacher or mentor, a minister or guru. Gail Sheehy notes in her book, Pathfinders, that most people who become pathfinders have at least one strong role model who exerted a forward pull and offered guidance, someone who endorsed their quest and helped them toward realization. Children who have absent or undependable parents naturally gravitate toward other figures, perhaps a grandparent or a great uncle or aunt. The Course tells us that the sight, the vision, and the inner guide all lead you out of hell with those you love beside you and the universe with them. Text chapter 31. In addition to protective guides who call us to action and keep us safe on the path, we also have companions who join us on our journey home. While guides are usually a generation or two older, companions are usually about the same age as the hero and also in search of their destiny. We thus reach the kingdom holding, on one side, the hand of someone who helped us, and on the other side, the hand of someone we have helped. The one who helps us the most is often the one we have the most trouble forgiving. Only when we realize the profound equality of everyone, including those we think of as sinners, will the kingdom of heaven begin to come more clearly into view. And that is so beautiful too, because I'm realizing that just I kind of have a fascination with true crime, and I like to watch it, and I like to see where my thoughts are as I'm watching it and what my judgments are against accused people. And sometimes they're saying the court of law has the burden of proof to prove that the person did it. And in some of the cases, people are already just saying guilty, guilty, guilty. So there's this whole, what is the point of the justice system if we're just saying people are guilty because that's what the police say? Anyway, it's quite an interesting dynamic for me to watch and see where I'm at in my head. Am I judging these sinners or lawbreakers, or do I have compassion and can I see past that? So it's a good tool for me, because then I can be free of guilt when I'm watching this, because I used to be like, oh, I should be watching something spiritual, but everything can be spiritual if I choose to put that at the forefront of my mind, and I can say, let me watch this with spirit, let me watch this with my higher mind, and what can I put in my mind to help the world, to help even in this group? What can my energy bring into this group right here, right now? And so that's how I try to do everything in life, even sweeping or the dishes. It's like you don't have any awareness. It's chop wood, carry water. You have awareness, chop wood, carry water. That's what it is. And it's just, where am I placing my attention on? Where am I? Am I in my head making up stories, or am I here, right now? Am I feeling the sensation of the dish? Am I just being here right now and loving the dish? I mean, the dish, maybe the dish is feeling that it needs some extra attention, and I want to give it. I want to give that. I like to think of, Beauty and the Beast and all the everything's alive and comes alive and has a magical sense to it. I love to think that way. Why not? Why not? It's way better than thinking of war and disease and death. So yeah, I see it's like 11:59. So I think I'm going to stop there with the reading, and hopefully we have our other program coming up here too now, Lynn. I think ECIM for children, and I'm going to look forward to doing that with you and anybody else who comes into the room. Thank you all for listening. A Course in Mysticism and Miracles. Have an awesome